So, there are no guys screaming at the top of their lungs trying to break out a transformation in this show. Huh. Okay, why did this guy just bite him? In this position? Seriously, for a show that's mainly fisticuffs, this has a lot of boy love. And did this guy do a freaking German suplex on freaking concrete? Rest in peace to that poor man. I was meant to do an end of season review on the first season of Windbreaker sometime after it ended, which, by the way, I'm gonna say Bofurin instead for the rest of the video because the name speaks for itself. But now that we have 3 episodes of season 2 out at the time of recording this, I thought it'd be a good time to get another vid out for the series, as my overall thoughts have gone from skeptical to just downright cynical of the show's fate. So this video is going to be a semi-rant of the series and how it embodies my love-hate relationship with anime nowadays. First off, I opted to read in the manga after watching a couple episodes for my first video. However, as the read was in the easy to read tier, in a good way, I essentially shelved it after Sakura and Ko won their first gang-on-gang brawl, with the help of their senpais later on, and when that arc ended with that cliche, the oncoming threat was holding the strings on the goons that were defeated thing, with other things getting in the way, one of them being the ultimate challenge of finally catching up to One Piece. I didn't get to honour that promise to catch up with the Bofurin manga until just recently. Now that I'm up to date, major thanks to season 2 of the anime, we'll get onto what I mean by that in a sec, my cynicism for the adaptation I mentioned pretty much withered away. Kinda? And this is not the first time it's happened. I say kinda because personally, whatever the fate of the adaptation, the manga will be long finished, and as long as I stay updated with that, the state of the adaptation won't impact me. But there's always a part of me screaming that I shouldn't feel the need to do this, especially when you take into account the amount of potential anime has as a whole. But it's worth noting that even if anime across the board upped its game to another level, with the exception of the highly rated shows like Jujutsu Kaisen, Frieren and Demon Slayer, as the area for improvement in animation quality for those shows are kinda small, I'd still probably tackle series in the same way that I do now, since I'm more of a plot or story merchant nowadays. Someone who likes an anime series so much that they'll read the source material just to see what happens next. But moving back to Cloverworks Studio, the guys that produced a really good first season of Bofurin. Here's how I see one typical timeline for a series adaptation, and the one I usually roll my eyes at when I think about a series. Studios produce a really good first season of a show based on a pretty decent manga, and obviously studios want to make sure that it really hooks the viewers, and the team working on the show have probably got a nice budget. But as business is in a sense always up in the air, not all studios can guarantee the next time they acquire the rights for another series for an adaptation. So the smart choice for studios once they've grabbed a deal is to drip feed the adaptation to fans who have been waiting so long for it, and the more volumes the source material has, the better. If production doesn't hit any snags, you're looking at around a year to 18 months for the next season. Again, that varies when you go case by case because some studios cut corners and then others have a really unfair budget. Now I'm going to show my lack of depth in knowledge for anime because Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer are the 2 series that come to mind who really upped their game in animation in comparison to the first, despite their first seasons being so good. However, they are the flagship anime of today and arguably benefited from the pandemic, only on the basis that the studios had more time to cook its best work. And it's fair to say that the budget Mappa and Ufotable had to work with were probably leagues above the budgets other studios had for their projects. Cloverworks, the guys behind the Bofurin anime adaptation, are by no means an average run-of-the-mill studio. I recently rewatched the first season and it just looks really good. Fluid movement, swooping angles, yeah, it's got all of that. Minus the flashy stuff, but it's not that type of setting. It had people saying that this is what Tokyo Revengers should have looked like, and yeah, I'm not gonna dispute that. I'll even go as far as to say it's Tokyo Revengers' spiritual successor. As other than that show, Bofurin should be the first ongoing one that comes to mind when you think about delinquents in anime, with Tokyo Revengers coming to a close with most likely its next season being the last. Having said all that about the 2 shows, the major downsides of Big Bro has me really concerned with Little Bro's fate despite the promise of its first on-screen showing. I originally thought it probably won't come to that for the next season, but watching the first 3 episodes of the second season just really upset me, because looking at it seems like Cloverworks took out a loan for the first season and are using the budget of the second season to pay that loan back. And by the way, I'm not going as far as to say it's the worst second season of a show. You've easily got One Punch Man, Tokyo Ghoul and The Promised Neverland fighting the top spot in that regard. It just feels like Cloverworks is half-heartedly trying to be in that discussion as well. But in defense of the studio, around 9 months between the end of the first season and the beginning of the second season is pretty impressive. Fans should really expect 12 to 18 months, maybe even 2 years for a decent follow-up season. So, if Cloverworks given themselves 3 more months to cook up Buffy in season 2 a little more meant seeing work closer to the first 3 episodes of season 1, I would have accepted that a lot more than what we've got now. The overall drop-off in quality isn't that bad. It's bad when you compare it to the pilot episode. Do you remember the couple of long takes of Sakura soloing all those NPCs? There are maybe a few sequences between the 2 episodes so far. Notice how I haven't mentioned the 3rd episode of season 2? There's no action, so less potential to really shine, unlike the first 2 episodes where there's a literal gang war happening in an abandoned warehouse. If the selling point was the animation quality, the thing they probably invested the most in, being lax with the first 2 episodes of the new season, begs for questions to be asked on the production team. I'm really curious about their thought process and even what the team were allowed to work with. Only those guys know how much time was given for the first season, but I'm guessing it was a lot more time compared to this current season. I'd like to think an extra month or 2 makes all the difference in the storyboarding and layers of animation implemented in sequences. Otherwise you've got dog shit slideshow quality like PNG lock or Blue JPEG, or slideshow of the elite. My problem is I'm starting to feel like I'm wasting my time with anime. Sort of. Apart from anime manga recommendations from other people, I read the source material because of either shouts about a potential anime release or shouts of a new season. More times than not, those anime have fallen under the trend of great first season but an underwhelming following season. I really hope I end up being wrong with this show, but just in case I'm right, I'm now up to date with the manga. Again, usually what I aim to do with anime that I talk about now. But that's it. That's the end of the video. If you agree with what I've said in the video, please leave a like. It helps this video get pushed around in the algorithm and I'd really appreciate it. If you think I'm talking crap, let me know down in the comments. I do reply to those. Thanks for watching, take care, and see ya.